But yeah, so Kerdos Insights Ep.8,
Yep.
second of the three-way series, and first with a Kerdos client. So it's exciting times. We're here with Joe, obviously, and Richard Ashmole of Aspire. So as I always do with Joe, but specifically for you today, Richard, it'd be great if you could kind of briefly introduce yourself, your business, and then I can kind of go through the conversation, which is obviously revolving around how technology can help grow your business.
Absolutely, yeah. So thanks for having me down, guys. It's been a long journey. I'm glad I'm here. I've literally just got it about 5 minutes ago. Just ran through it all quick, sit down. So yeah, I'm Richard, set up AspireCRM. So we're a CRM consultancy business. We sort of leverage Salesforce technology to help other businesses grow their business through the power of technology. It started off as sort of CRM, but it's grown into a lot more than that, which we'll touch on, I'm sure, in this podcast. But that was set up back in 2016, and we've just been doing our thing. And the past few years, we've had some really good growth, really key acquisitions client-wise. So it's been great. Not without its challenges, as any business, I'm sure, will tell you. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Yeah, 100%. Anything to add to that, Joe? I mean, actually, it'd be great for you to introduce how do you guys know each other and how long you've been working together?
I think you were referred, weren't you?
Yeah, we were. It was actually from another, they weren't even a lead generation company. They were just like one of these companies that sort of sell sort of leads, but it wasn't lead. And the guy said, well, look, it's not for us, but if you're doing this activity, I recommend speaking to Joe. So I gave you a call, Joe. You obviously did a really good sales pitch because something worked.
I was waiting for that.
You also did something right.
It's good. I think we always get referrals, and it's quite interesting when someone comes through and you go, "I've always wanted a link with Salesforce." Mm-hmm. It's certainly a one-day goal for us in some form of capacity, whether that's demand gen, more consultancy side of things, and lower in the appointment side of things, but. And when I heard what Richard did, I was like, well, actually, this is probably more our game. Because of the technicality behind it. That's where we really focus our kind of pitches on and who we prospect to. And yeah, thanks, Chris Clark, for the referral.
Very good stuff. Well, to get into it...
Commission's still in the post.
No commission.
No commission. But yeah, to get into it, I was going to say, so... Technology-assisted growth, I would say the pinnacle of that is a CRM because it assists you with your leads, your marketing, your sales, etc. The pinnacle of a CRM is Salesforce, and the pinnacle of Salesforce is the bespoke side of things, Richard, which is obviously your game. So I wanted to go into that initially and to ask you, why wouldn't you or shouldn't you just buy Salesforce off the shelf?
Yeah, I mean, so Salesforce has always been known as the market leader, and I suppose back in the earlier days of it was more geared towards enterprise, so you got some of your larger businesses using it. But more recently, it's been sort of, there's elements that are watered down for small businesses, and it's because it is such a scalable platform, you don't have to take it all. It's like just because you've bought a Ferrari doesn't mean you have to drive over at 200 miles an hour, right? It works at any speed. So for us, with Aspire, we tend to focus more on the small to medium-sized businesses anyway. Mm-hmm. And Salesforce is a great platform because it's one of those that allows the company to grow into the product rather than you buy, let's say an open source or a free CRM. You're very then limited by what that functionality has. And if you grow as a business, the product potentially can't grow with you. So if you're saying, I want to automate all this now and I want to have these other processes, other departments using a CRM for not just CRM, for, we've got clients using it for HR, we've got them, we've got so many use cases that isn't, always known as CRM that with Salesforce, it gives that capability because it's such a wide product portfolio now. Look at marketing automation, look at customer portals for self-service, as well as the standard, account management, sales management stuff. It just gives so much capacity for businesses to grow into it that, if you are looking longer term, it's the perfect and probably one of the only solutions.
Agreed. And I think Callum, part of his pitch, I don't know if you've heard this, but part of his pitch is, when they say, we don't need anything to assist us with our sales department, Cal's pitch to that specific point is, funny enough, if Salesforce, when they started the company, really kicked himself in the foot a little bit because it's so much more now, and it helps at different stages of the business, aftercare, even logistics. I saw the other day, and the way it kind of integrates with kind of order systems.
Yeah, and you look at there's a lot of that industry-specific products to do, like manufacturing, cloud, financial services, and they're very much geared up towards specific industries. So if you look at the financial services cloud, there's a lot of pre-built capability for like wealth management. So you look at these wealth management companies, St. James Place, etc. They leverage Salesforce because it already has that pre-built capability within it. And there's all the other products that go with it as well, which you've just alluded to, Joe. It's more so much a platform, not so much a CRM. Don't just call it a CRM. It's a platform that you can build these applications on, because with Salesforce and what we do a lot of stuff that isn't just completely out of the box. It's something you can build on your own applications, HR systems again, loan management systems. We've got a couple of clients, do loan management through it, and it's it's really powerful, scalable stuff.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I was thinking about, because technology-assisted growth, I think ultimately a lot of the new generation of business owners like yourself, like Joe, will be receptive to it, but potentially the older business owners are not so versed on it. So for someone that sits across the table to you, Richard, and says, why should I invest in this? I've got, I don't know, Sage, I've got this, I've got all these different solutions. Why should they invest?
I think the thing is, in today's world, everything's quite fast-paced, right? Business moves very quick, and there's a lot of moving parts to a business these days, and I think investing, if we put technology at a higher level, it's to help you assist with your business, right? There's a lot of stuff we use. We've got Xero, we've got Salesforce, we've got other applications that are there to ultimately take the weight off my shoulders, off the team's shoulders, and automate a lot of that. So, and again, Salesforce and its capabilities is designed to take some of the weight off the sales guys. Sales guys don't want to be, inputting all data day in, day out. They just want to be selling, right? Whereas all the automation we can build into Salesforce takes all that away effectively. It lightens the load, and that's what technology should do. It should be there to assist. So if there's, and we do get it, whereas we get challenges from business owners saying, oh, well, I've been doing this for years. It's like, yeah, but maybe that's what's stagnating the growth bit is you're trying to still do too much manual and too much yourself, that's taking it away from, the growth of the business. So invest in the technology now. Yes, there's some short-term investment, which, can be costly, but the longer term is, it's going to help you grow.
Yeah, 100%. And I think to add to that, even every point that we grow, even as a company, and we see our clients grow, we're seeing them needing systems to support them. And actually, a lot of companies need to realise that maybe streamline it sooner rather than later is a lot more cost-effective thing to do. I think, Richard, what you just said there is like, I know, and going back to what you said, the older person that's been doing this for years and happy with their systems, just even having a conversation, realising that, actually you can automate that manual task, or, actually you could probably streamline that in so it's all in one system. And then with Richard's help, you're developing that full system to just kind of run itself rather than having to go to this system and then to this system, to this system. You can streamline the whole thing. And that's why companies like Aspire exist.
Yeah, on the topic of Aspire, I was doing a bit of research earlier, and you touched on it. I think founded in 2016, right? Became an official partner in 2018.
Yes,
and have been ever since. Obviously, I was also doing a bit of research into the industry, and within the UK, I think there's hundreds of partners of Salesforce. Why Aspire?
That is a really tough question, because ultimately, a lot of us all do the same thing, right? I think for us, we focus on the delivery a lot more. So, and this isn't me bashing the industry or anything, but there's a lot of competitors and also other people in other areas that are very much focused on the numbers. Get the clients in, get it in, try and grow it something big, try and sell it. Obviously, we'd all love to grow and sell our business, but what we seem to do really well is from the delivery aspect of things and building a relationship with our customers. Because every customer we have is a long-term, I don't like to call them customers, partners really. We help them, they help us, and because with Salesforce, again, like I've mentioned, it's continually scaled and built on. So for us, if we build and maintain those customer relationships, it's great for ourselves, because they're just going to keep coming back to us. We're going to do great work for them. So yeah, that's one of the key things that we stand out for.
Yeah, very interesting.
Delivery, because it's, as a consulting business, it's people, right? People are working with people, And people have to have a good experience with that. So that's why it's key to focus on that, because yes, you may deliver the end product, but if the experience of delivering that was poor, and that's it, you're probably not going to get any future work. Back to the drawing board.
No, you guys can literally work with anyone, right?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
I think that's the one thing I noticed, is that it just seems that when you hear with Richard's knowledge of over the years of working with like many different customers, I guess, you think about it, one of Richard's clients could be in HR industry, talking with their mate who's in a logistics industry in the pub, and then all of a sudden Richard then talks about, Richard's client talks about how great their kind of development was and how much easier their life is. And they go, well, would that work for me? Well, yeah, because you're in a different industry. And then I'm sure you probably get a lot of referrals that way as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do it, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. And one thing that you went through earlier, which I wanted to dig a little bit more into, was kind of the variation of different things that the solution can help with. From my experience, and I'll be transparent, I only know CRM as sales and marketing.
Yeah.
And although obviously it's customer relationship management, to me, in my mind, it's very much one-dimensional. I'm sure you get that.
And that's what a lot of people's minds, yeah.
I was going to say, so how would you explain how diverse the solution can be to someone that is in my position?
CRM, a lot of people think CRM is just like a technology, a system, but actually it's a sort of almost a methodology, customer relationship management, right? It's managing your customers. And what is that? So that's your marketing, right? It's your sales and your customer service. Now, loads of things can come in under that. So when we're speaking with clients and I mentioned, for example, loan management solution, right? In Salesforce, we built this amazing application that can effectively manage the loan application and funding underwriting process all through Salesforce, all automated. Now that is still managing that customer relationship because you're doing that as you're going through that journey. It's very varied.
Yeah, it's an interesting point.
And that's what's so great about this industry is you never generally get the same 2 use cases from a client. Yes, they'll say, oh yeah, I want sales, but the way they do it is always different processes and different touch points. It's never two the same.
I think to add to that as well, if you go back to sales and marketing world, it's the same with all of our clients. Their cadences and their workflows are completely different, and things like Salesforce and a developer developing it for their journey and their customer journey is important.
Yeah,
and it actually helps massive amounts. I mean, we try and cut a lot of that out with our solutions, but realistically, there are systems out there that really kind of streamline everything for you. And Salesforce being one of them, providing it's been developed in the right way with the person that understands the journey of sales and marketing, understands inbound and outbound are 2 different things. And I think that's
and that's one of the reasons. Obviously, people may say, well, why did you choose Salesforce? There are other vendors, there's Microsoft, there's Oracle, there's SAP, and there are also smaller ones. I think with Salesforce, it gives us as a provider to businesses loads of options to solve many challenges. So we could get someone who say, right, I've got this challenge, great, I can fix that. But if we were, let's say, with another provider partnered with, if they came to us and said, I've got this challenge, we'd be like, oh, well, we can't do that. You'd have to then go elsewhere. But with Salesforce, again, like you just mentioned, there's the portfolio of products is so vast from marketing, sales, service. We cover the whole 360. And a big buzzword, I suppose, is 360 view of customer. We call it. Is ultimately as a business where you want to get to is you can see your customer, you can see how you've marketed to them, how you've sold to them, how you continue to service them, everything, and that helps business and business owners give informed decisions.
Yeah. How much can that alignment help? Because what we've spoke about quite a lot actually on previous episodes is the breakdown in communication sometimes, specifically between sales and marketing, as that's kind of the worlds that we've come from, myself and Joe. But what you're talking about, that 360 solution, that alignment across all departments, how much can that help?
Massively. If you look at, let's take the marketing and sales journey then. So obviously the sales guys are sat there, they're waiting for qualified leads effectively. If you've got a solution whereby the sales guy can actually see the touch points that the marketing team have had, the conversations, the notes, everything is all on that one record, shall we say, then when it comes to the actual sales appointments, the team, they've got the ammunition, they know the touch points, they know what's been said previously from the marketing guys. So they're going in, pretty hot rather than straight cold out the back because someone's sticky note's been left on a monitor somewhere or chucked in the bin or a scrap paper's gone missing, which you'd be amazed that still happens quite a lot.
Yeah, I hear.
I've seen multi-million-pound businesses run on sticky notes. I don't know how they do it, but they do.
Unbelievable.
It's scary.
That is unbelievable. Speak about scary, actually. So you, a lot of this is obviously automation, AI, that sort of thing. So I was listening to a podcast the other day, Mo Gowder on Stephen Bartlett's podcast, and he speaks about AI and kind of the negative effects of AI. So I wanted to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit, and we spoke about the benefits of this solution, how it can streamline things, that side of things. What do you think of the negative effects of using it?
I think there's this misconception with AI that it's some wayward. I think people have seen The Matrix too many times, but AI is only going to ultimately do what it's almost programmed to do. So when we build AI solutions, and again, plug Salesforce does have an AI product. I'm sure you've seen, but it will only work around the rules you define it. Okay. So I don't see it as a negative because it's in your power to control that. But what it can do is obviously it's giving you the insight. So a lot of it is what we call machine learning. So understanding the previous behaviors. So again, if I take from a sales perspective, AI can enhance the closure rate of opportunities based off previous experiences. So if you're dealing with X customer and you've had previous deals fall through because of X reason, the AI can pick up on that and say, well, you lost this previously because of this, try doing this. Giving you those insights on what you should be doing based off previous experiences. And obviously then from a data perspective, it can give you that view on, this is how you've been performing as a business. This is where you need to be, shifting, attention or maybe product marketing, whatever it is, based off, again, previous behaviors that it's picked up on.
It literally ranks and it tells a salesperson these ones are more likely to close right now based on all the data it's collated over a period of time. But that's gold dust to sales individuals or even prospectors.
Yeah, customer service as well. On the customer service side, if you've got a batch of customers that have been, potentially troublesome to deal with, the AI can pick up on that based off, again, those previous, records that have been logged and the notes to say, hang on, maybe this customer, deal with them like this. So, but again, all of that is wrapped around the boundaries that you set, right? So I don't think it's anything people should be scared of. Stop watching Terminator.
No, okay. No, it's an interesting topic. I want to get your thoughts on it.
That was a good podcast, actually.
It was a very good podcast. So yeah, shout out Stephen.
I'll have to watch that one. I've not watched.
Oh yeah, very good. I think he's written a book on it actually. Mo Gowder.
I've only seen Stephen Bartlett on Dragon's Den. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you gotta watch his podcast.
No, definitely get into it. But from a personal perspective, actually, Richard. So obviously, I was on your LinkedIn. I was having a look through. Why Salesforce? Because it's not obviously the first position that you've been in that's Salesforce related, your business.
No, well, I got involved, so what we call an end user within the industry. So someone who was obviously using Salesforce in their business. I was working for that company. And I almost got dumped. So I've always been in IT. It's my background. It's what I studied at college, what my first job in. Worked in IT support and sort of worked up the tiers within IT support. And then I got sort of Salesforce dumped on me. I'd heard of it, but I'd never used it. I'd never seen it. And I just got said, look, hey, this is Salesforce. It's just going live. It had just been implemented within the company. Can you look after it? I'm like, okay. I better learn fast. And that's how it started. And then I was working with a colleague of mine, and we both then from there decided to go freelancing with it because the market was quite generous for freelancing at the time, and it was a great opportunity to learn more because if you go down the end user route with, well, I suppose with any technology, you only get the exposure to what that customer is using it. Whereas if you sort of go freelance and self-employed, you're open to loads of different interpretations of it. So we decided to do that, and then it's just gone from there, really.
Are you passionate about it?
So I could be cheesy and say yes, but the reality is no. I think if you're saying you're passionate about it, it's like, really? It's the software, right? It's hard sell to say to anyone I'm passionate about this software. But it is, I'm just being honest. I'm only being honest for the camera. But I believe in it is what I do, and believe in the value it brings. So yeah, sell what you believe, right? So
that's very true. Sell or be sold.
That's a good question, though, Laurie.
Yeah, I mean,
But you-
it's important, isn't it? And like you say, sell or be sold. If you're passionate about it, that'll come across in your pictures. You generate more clients, you'll grow quicker, which is obviously what this podcast is all about.
Yeah. I'm passionate about businesses leveraging the technology though, because it's done wonders for our business leveraging that. You know, we use Salesforce ourselves, obviously, and all these other bits of technology that I don't know what we'd be doing if we didn't. I'd probably.
So how specifically has it benefited your business?
It's just taken some of the pain away from me. I mean, the simple thing, Zero, right? Making tax digital. Could you imagine if we were still using spreadsheets for all that? I don't dare think about it. I think I still have a friend who still uses spreadsheets to calculate their VAT returns, and like. Whereas now, all I have to do is I go, right, Zero, send to HMRC, and it just goes dun. And I don't have to sit there for hours trying to tee everything up. You know, so it's again, going back to what I said earlier, business is so busy these days, everything's so fast paced that you need the technology to take some of the load off. That's what it's designed to do, right?
100%. And whilst obviously we spoke a lot about CRMs, which is one element of technology and obviously specific to you, which has been great.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I guess technology is obviously vast, and visibility is key to sales. Visibility, I would say at the moment, is social media centric. You're seeing a lot on social media. So maybe for you, Joe, how key is visibility to growing your business, and how does technology play a part within that visibility role?
Well, I mean, for us, I think it's more, I mean, things like Hootsuite, for example, from a social media perspective, help us get ahead of the game.
So did you swear there when you said Hootsuite?
Sorry?
Did you swear when you said Hootsuite? There's a Salesforce product for that.
Is there?
I'll get
Cal's
you later,
going to
Joe.
be calling me on Monday.
Yeah, I'm going to call him.
Hi, is this Joseph Sadler? Yeah.
We'll do your deal.
No. Yeah, better be good. So I think, you know, just Hootsuite is one to mention, but, you know, that allows our content teams to get ahead of the game. It does it for them. You don't have to then keep setting calendar reminders to do certain things. Email automation platforms, I know Salesforce have a massive part of this, and it's a part of that journey. When you're writing the workflows, Salesforce allow you to cascade the emails at certain points, and if they're open at a certain point, it might go on a different workflow. If it's not open, it will get a reminder of a different one and then join a different workflow. That visibility, depending on how long they've been on it, it would be notifying the SDR to then follow up on that opportunity. Technology is massive and it is expensive, and we're probably a little bit too not quite close enough just yet for, you know, something that extreme. I say that extreme like it's a bad thing. It's a good thing, and it would help us do wonderful things and cut out that time. But at the right point, I think if you're in a position where you can do it from a manual perspective, and there's not really any other tasks that individual can do it at the right time when maybe your operation's bigger, where you need that visibility from a data perspective as an operations manager, director, because all these stats, certainly from a creating demand perspective, are key. You know, you've got to understand, you know, certainly on ad campaigns, the journey of that client. You know, are they then receiving that email? They sign up to the newsletter, and really making sure your campaigns are strong enough, because that, you go back to the visibility, that visibility of how a campaign is doing is absolutely key. Certainly in the ads, content delivery, and direct mail from an email perspective is huge. It's massive. So yeah, that's where technology comes in.
What's the better Hootsuite alternative?
Social Studio. It's part of Salesforce Marketing Cloud thing. So yeah, we've gone up against a few of the Hootsuite bids previously. So
what's your argument?
Again, budget dependent, etc. But they both do very similar things. The benefit with the Salesforce side is it has an automate add-on where you can integrate it with your CRM. So basically, if you were to, as a business, you could set up rules to say if I get a negative tweet on my feed, create a case for my service teams to jump on it. Or if I get an Instagram post that's potentially going to lead to a sale, send it into my sales teams in Salesforce.
Yeah,
that's the real value add bit, is automating that bit. At basic level, yes, they both do social listening, which is looking at all your channels. But the automate bit is the really powerful bit.
See, that is massive for the world we are in now. So something like that would be an upsell. Like I'd be able to step away from Hootsuite at the right time. Because of that, what that does for us, because you know what we're like. We heavily push out a lot of content, and we're continuously looking at who's commenting, who's liking, who's then complimenting on our content, getting that feedback from client on our content. It's massive for us. So I mean, that is.
If you're spread, if you're across like all 4 platforms, right? You've got Facebook, whatever then, 10. To manage, and you've got a lot of clients and a lot of customers, that's a lot of time to manage all that. That is like 1/2 people full time.
And another thing to add is that people do prospect via Twitter. We were talking about actually maybe doing it for you with the account exec side of things. And that's massive because they're on there. They're talking about Salesforce as well because Salesforce execs prospect via Twitter. I think it was actually someone at Sales Loft. Sorry, I swore. Who actually told me about the prospecting via Twitter first of all. So again, it comes back into the CRM system. It gives that visibility to the prospectors. When someone's liked your tweet or liked the company's tweet and so forth.
Okay, so to put you on the spot then, Richard, we've spoke about how important visibility, and specifically over the last 5-10 minutes, social media visibility is to lead into a sale. How integral was Kerdos's social media visibility and presence to you becoming a client?
Quite a lot to it. I mean, so again, what we do, it was very much behind the scenes stuff. We had a social media presence, but we didn't have many followers, maybe a few hundred, I think what it was. And we were very sporadic with our presence on social. So, we'd go through periods like I suppose a lot of small businesses do, periods of do some social posts, then there's nothing, then maybe you randomly do some more whenever you've got a free minute. See with Kerdos coming on board and helping us and their presence, it's really, I think, lifted it for us. Because when we are having conversations with clients with our strategic partners, they can look at our social channels and say, okay, yeah, these guys are relating on social, what they're telling me actually in person. And I can see they're quite active. They're not just potentially a shadow company that's, operating 1 day a week, something like that. So, it has been key for us.
How's that to hear, Joe?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I expect it though. I think I know that
1,000 followers next week, please, Joe.
I mean, it took us ages to get to this point, and I think last month was our highest following month. How many? 135. 135 in the last 30 days. New followers, and we small steps. Like first 6 months was like 30 to 60, and then all of a sudden we started seeing a spike towards like 75, and it stayed there for a while. And we were like, okay, now we need to accelerate our content, bring podcasts in, bring video in, bring other things like a bit of culture with the TikTok side of things.
Just doing something different.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, but also never trying to sell. If you look at AspireCRM's content now, there is not one call to action on any of their posts. And it's because they're trying to become educational. They're trying to show that they know what they're talking about. So when Callum and the team do the prospecting, they do go through to your pages. We asked 50 people, what happens when you receive a social prospecting message that you like? They all, literally majority of them, I think it was just over 95%. They all said that they click on the profile of that individual they received the message, check their credibility, and then they go onto the company page. And then they make a judgment call whether they're going to respond to that message. And that's why it's so critical for that content. And unfortunately, Richard's not at a stage quite yet where it's probably going to show a lot yet. It may have in a couple of the appointments that we've got. But what I would say is it will pay dividends when you get 2 to 3 a week coming through.
It all takes time, what we do in our industry, we're low volume, high value. Everything being done from a client perspective, there's lots of decisions has to be made, right?
Absolutely.
Someone pulling the trigger on investing 10, 50 or 100 grand into technology, right? They can't make a mistake doing that because they'll probably get fired. So a lot of time has to be spent with suppliers, checking them out, vetting them. The whole process just takes time, and obviously, so you can't expect results overnight. And I think from the following perspective, you're not going to have hundreds of thousands because we're not in that arena. It's lower volume, higher value.
Again, we go back to that intent funnel. It's like, we're building a database of relationships with companies that we know Richard can really work well in and Aspire can really work well in when they're ready to buy. Yeah. And what happens is that the more you direct these people to follow you, because Callum will end a lot of his conversations in saying, hey, by the sounds of it, we're a bit too early. Be great if you can follow the page, And then all of a sudden, when they're ready and we keep communicating with them, we keep the touch points, the workflows, like we said, keep engaging with these prospects.
Yeah.
They will message Richard's account or whoever's account that we're using saying, hey, Richard, I spoke to Callum. I think I'm ready for a conversation now. We get 3 to 4 of them a week. And last year it was about 2 to 3. The year before that was like 1 a month. It does happen in
gradually,
stages, and that's why it's key for that content and tracking that as well. We track everything. Who is liking, who's following, who's clicking on it, who's engaging with it. And it does take time for that to happen, but when it does, it pays a lot of money.
Yeah. I think that patience is a really good kind of point to, I guess, summarize on. So I'd like to kind of push it across to you guys and just to ask you, how would you like to summarize the topic and the conversation of how technology can grow your business?
I think I'd summarize it by saying, invest now for the future. I know it maybe sounds a bit cliche, but that is completely true. Businesses are looking to make more efficiencies, streamline, improve themselves, improve their delivery to their customers, and technology has to be the foundation behind that. You look at some of these big fintechs, that are coming up, Monzo Bank, Revolut, all these big financial technology companies coming out of the woodwork because they're investing in technology that, is helping them pay dividends, and it will do in the future. And that applies to a lot of businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to just add to that, it's if you think that it's too expensive for you, I think that you ultimately need to try and find that budget to at least even go with a 12-month contract in some form of technology that will change your business. Because when you then realise after that year what you've saved in operational costs, like resource, what you've achieved from that automation side of things, these are all things that we look at and go, okay, how much longer can we carry on like this, even for our clients' accounts, before we go, okay, we need to sell everyone this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you said the word expensive, right? And I say this to a lot of people, is it's only expensive if you don't get value from it, right?
Absolutely.
If you invest 50 grand into it, right, but over the next 2 years you save 100 grand's worth of hiring of people, it's paid for itself and more.
Used to be one of my lines at the old business. It's not expensive, it's high value. That was literally what I used to say.
You buy a Ferrari, 200 grand Ferrari. If you really enjoy it and you love owning that Ferrari, then it's 200 grand well spent, right?
It won't make you
maybe not the same, maybe not make your money back, but...
Agree.
I think as well, the big buzz for me and other marketers and salespeople who work in providing that support to businesses, we're all talking about the workflows and cadences. That is where the alignment between sales and marketing for technology, for me, if you can find a piece of technology like Salesforce and others that can streamline that and get that information that's important to marketing, information that's important to sales, but get them to, they don't talk, right? We talk about this all the time, but get them at least on the same workflow to really help each other. But then you have one demand strategist that's there at the top who's written that workflow, who says, here's what marketing we're doing with marketing, here's what we're doing with sales, and here's the workflow that's going to work. You stop that breakdown in communication between the departments because you have a system doing it for you. And this is why we want to get more involved in demand gen, because you tell people what to do and you make a lot of money. But the technology is a massive part of that. It's critical.
And that all starts at AspireCRM. So,
does.
Richard, where can people find you if I'm sat watching this and thinking, you know what, I've got that 100 grand to invest? Where can I find you?
On the corner market, no. No, so on the website, www.aspirecrm.co.uk, you can get us through there. We are on our social channels as well. Feel free to LinkedIn me directly. You can get me on there. I do not bite. I'm not a shy person. Otherwise I won't be on this podcast. Obviously our friends here at Kerdos as well are helping generate some of that demand as well. So if you ever have a conversation with one of the guys here, I'm sure we'll end up speaking.
Great stuff. Well, from my perspective, really, really interesting, insightful conversation. So appreciate you travelling down, Richard. It's been great to meet for the first time, and for you two face to face for the first time as well.
It is. It's amazing what COVID can do, isn't it? Like, just through a screen with everyone, isn't it? Since day one. But we have said about Richard coming down a few times, but he likes driving. So
it's been the time. It's the timing side of things as well. It's trying to find the time. But we're here now, and we're going to enjoy some beers now.
Yeah, absolutely.
After the drive I've had.
Great stuff. Well, we'll call it there. But thanks very much, guys.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Cool.